Hi guys, thanks for stopping in. I am going to spend this video kind of talking about my first impressions of Paris, since I haven't really sat down and talked about like the specific types of culture shock or things that have happened or things that I've really noticed about Paris. I've just kind of, been vlogging, so I really want to take this time to, work through my own thoughts too. It's almost a month now, so I feel like I'm kind of okay on talking about where I'm from and what's going on. But kind of first things first, so I study at the CIEE Center, which is a study abroad center. So that's in the second arrondissement. And if you don't know about Paris, it's basically a big circle, and they call it a snail because it goes, all the arrondissements in order go in a big circle. So the second's really close to the middle, and I'd say it's like a 7-minute walk to the Seine in the middle of Paris. But then I personally live in a homestay up in the 19th, which is very much further up in east. So touching on that, I really personally like my homestay a lot. I think when I first started this program, I was a little bit hesitant because I didn't really want to stay in a homestay. I really wanted to stay in a dorm just because I felt like it gave me a lot of the freedom that I had when I was at college, and that's kind of what I wanted to do. Is I wanted to travel, I wanted to roam, I wanted to do a bunch of stuff. So that being said, I actually really like my homestay. It's very cozy. I don't really have to worry about things. I didn't have to furnish it. I just kind of came in. I live with a woman who has 2 kids that have moved out and they're adults. And that's kind of, I feel like, a very typical homestay experience. Is generally people whose kids have grown up and moved out, and they, they like the company and they like talking to someone who's got different perspectives and learning about the world. I also think that the main difference for me between a dorm and a homestay is a dorm, you have to pay for all of your food and everything in there. That includes your room and stuff like that, whereas at a homestay, I get free dinners and free breakfast and stuff like that, and that actually really does add up, especially in a city like Paris where everything is very expensive. Alright, so that's my homestay. Let's talk a little about culture shock and going into what my first experience. When I first got to Paris, I came in from Charles de Gaulle Airport, and so Charles de Gaulle is here's the city of Paris, and here's my homestay. So I was literally get to see much of the city, which I was a little bit disappointed about because I was so excited to just take that first whirlwind drive and get in. But honestly, that was fine. I was exhausted anyway. So first, talking about the way the Parisians dress. Everyone knows the stereotype where it's everyone wears black and no one wears white sneakers and there are no shorts. I don't know, didn't expect it to be true, but it really is. You can really tell who's a tourist and who's not by if they're showing their bare legs or not. If anyone's gonna wear a skirt or shorts, the only shorts that I've really seen are leather shorts, leather everything, leather and suede everything first of all. But the only really shorts I've seen are leather shorts, and they're always worn with tights underneath. Everything you wear that could show your legs, you're gonna want to wear tights with. Also, okay, the white sneaker thing though is a complete and utter lie. I didn't know, but there are these type of shoes. They're Adidas's. They're called Stan Smiths. If you're coming to Paris, get Stan Smiths. Everyone wears them. They've got green on the back, and it was some tennis player from the 80s, but it is just everywhere. I was so genuinely shocked because I thought no one wore white sneakers. I left my shoes at home. I didn't know what to do, but they're everywhere. So white sneakers, no. Black, yes. I brought some white items. I brought a white romper with florals and colors and stuff like that, and I haven't worn them ever. I've been wearing, shirts like this they have some detailing and they have some fun, but they're black or they're navy or they're gray. So that was a little hard. Also layers with scarves and hats and always a jacket, even if it's 80 degrees out. All of the Parisians are wearing jackets, which is a little bit contradictory to me because I'm always let's go shorts and a tank top when it's 40 degrees out. So that's been a little bit hard to get used to, but it's a lot of fun to get used to because I really enjoy dressing and like going shopping and stuff like that, it's been fun to adjust, so even there's a culture shock there. The other one that it's come with is my schoolwork. Schoolwork and speaking French in general, even though everyone speaks French in Paris, you don't realize how hard it is just to converse with someone until you actually get to Paris. So that was a big shock because I expected to know more than I did, but again, I'm just learning. I think when it comes to culture shock, this is the attitude that I've kind of gone in with, and I feel like it's been helping me to an extent, is every time I come across something that's new or something that's different, like the fact that the toilet is in a separate room from the shower and there's no sink there, you just kind of have to look at it and go, this is the way it is, and that's fine. I try not to think about the big differences between the States and the France, because even though it's fun to think about, especially when I'm first adjusting, I'd be like, okay, there's no air conditioning. That's just how it is, you know, that's cool. That's just, some people do it that way, and it's just kind of running along with that. That's probably the best advice I can give, but I know some people really have had trouble with homesickness and culture shock, and the best thing to do is to talk about it. Because if you don't talk about it, it's just gonna manifest. So, culture shock, homestays, first impressions. First impressions, it's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. Everything here is gorgeous. I've got like slate roofs behind me. I've got this beautiful white building that's like a modern building, but it's still gorgeous. Everything's incredible. There are cobblestone streets, there are, you know, beautiful little shops. There are so many quirky shops. That's something that I've noticed, is that there are a lot of shops in France that are so specific that I'm like, you would never have a storefront for that in America. I've seen one that's just cans of tuna. I've seen an Elvis Presley shop. I've seen sock shops. It's actually really great. But I will say, moving on to the people are, it's a very weird mix of very friendly and very not friendly. Depending on the situation or where you are, someone can be very helpful and very like, you know, we want you to come in, we want to talk to you, we want to do stuff, or, you know, on the other hand, if you're, I don't know, in the metro, no one talks, no one looks at each other, no one smiles. Smiling's not a thing in Europe. So everyone thinks I'm crazy because I still smile at them all the time. Being here for 4 months is a very long time, but at the same time, I think we're all, in my program at least, are noticing that it's like not enough. You know, every city that you're gonna go to in Europe has so much to offer and so much to do that it's really hard to just be like, okay, I'm just gonna, you know, like, I'm just gonna go and see it all, because that's not possible. It's not a thing. So that's great. And for the future, I am taking a bunch of weekend excursions. I think that's something that you personally have to decide before you go, is whether you want to travel a lot or if you want to stay in your country or, you know, stay in your city a lot. I personally really wanted to travel because I love Paris and I want to spend a ton of time getting to know it, but I also know that this is such a hub for me that I'm going to be coming back again and again and again. So I really want to get a great basis here, but I also want to see places that I would have never seen before. Like, I'm going to Budapest, I'm going to Istanbul, I'm going to Santorini, I'm going to Naples. I don't know that many people who have been to Naples, so I feel like that's a really good thing. I'm going to Dublin, I'm going a lot of places. So get excited for those videos. But it's very, to me, that was something where it was like when someone was like, hey, I'm thinking about going on a trip to Barcelona for Halloween. You know, Barcelona is maybe not my top pick of somewhere I wanted to go, but went in with the attitude that if someone says, let's go on a trip, I'm just gonna say yeah, and I'm gonna experience it, and that's just how it's gonna be. And I'm really excited about it. But that being said, I also know people in my program who are only taking 1 or 2 trips because they really want to spend the time in the city of Paris, getting to know every nook and cranny, which is, it's honestly so great. I am a little bit jealous sometimes, but I'm also excited for my trips. So I think that covers everything, but thanks for sitting in with me and talking, and I'm really really loving it here. I'm very excited, and you know, who can't fall in love with Paris? It's the city of light and love.